Creative Living, utilizing today's technology with the best of the past to bring you innovative ideas and up-to-date information for creative lifestyles in today's active world. With your host, Sheryl Borden.
I'm so glad you joined me today for Creative Living. We're going to learn how to do bottle cutting and make a tropical floral arrangement. One of my guests is Elena Echeverry, and she's the founder and executive director for a unique nonprofit organization called Charity Wings. Elena explains that they work with individuals and businesses to help them get started. And today she's going to demonstrate how to use the Kinkajou bottle cutter to make things like wine glasses, votive covers, cups, and much more. This is just one of the many homegrown businesses she works with through her organization in San Marcos, California. My first guest is Casey Schwartz, and she's a floral designer, and she's going to show how to take several sets of tropical flowers and pull them together into quite a showstopper. She explains that this arrangement would be perfect for an entryway or on a front desk at a reception. There's very little preparation to do with these types of flowers that are often sold in grocery stores, so you know they aren't nearly as expensive to buy. Casey is co-owner of Flower Duet in Redondo Beach, California. Casey, I think this is the most unusual arrangement you've ever brought to show us, but could you tell us what it is?
Yes, well, it's a combination of tropicals. We have some heliconia, which is the tall ones, look a little bit like lobster claws. And we have some ginger, which comes in pink and red, really tropical and dramatic. Then we have some anthurium, and all of these flowers, and orchids too.
And these are all real?
All real. No. I know that. I think the anthurium definitely feel like plastic, and they last a really long time. So sometimes you really wonder, is it?
It is.
But they grow in Hawaii and all around the tropics, and this is what you see in the Caribbean or in Hawaiian hotels. They do these great arrangements, and they just make you happy.
They do.
And they're fun. They're fun to work with, and they last a really long time. But we're going to make one today, and just like this, and we're going to do a little bit of trimming. But the joy of tropicals is there's not a lot of cleaning. There isn't a lot of
roses and some of the other.
Just none of that little nitty-gritty greenery. No fluff, just long stems, but very strong,
These
solid
look like
stems.
Banana tree
They
pieces.
do, probably same family there.
Oh,
So one important thing we need to have is a very strong and tall container, because you will need the support, because if it's something
They're big.
They're big. And if you don't have enough floral foam or a tall enough container and you put your stems in there, the whole thing will fall over. It just won't work. But you have to also be very careful in positioning your stems, because you have gigantic stems going into the foam, and you want to commit once you get it in there, because too many
Don't move it.
don't move it once you get it in, and too many big holes like this are definitely going to break down your foam quickly. Okay?
Because for the size of these flowers, that's really not a very large piece of foam to work with.
No, it isn't. It's a little over half a
deep.
brick, and it's deep. And the container we're using is completely watertight. Not that glamorous. It's pressed paper, so it's nice, recyclable. And it works out well because the arrangement is so dramatic that you don't even see the container.
Need to worry about it.
Right, and usually it's tucked away. You're not really going to notice it. So to build an arrangement like this, we start from the back and work our way forward. And we have our foam placed in there with lots of room on the sides to add water. We've soaked our floral foam, which acts as our vase. You always want to do. And often I won't put water in the vase after I've put the foam in, because it's completely soaked. And as we put stems in there, it will displace water, and sometimes my arrangement's overflowing with water. So if you were to add it, it would even be more so. But once you get all your stems in and everything's settled, then you add your water, because you always want to make sure, especially with the tropics, tropicals, they definitely need all that water. So if you take something like this, you think, what on earth am I going to do with this? Well, you don't necessarily have to keep it in its original form. In fact, we can separate out some of the larger stems here. It's like shucking corn, and put that aside. And we still don't want to go, really, really tall with this one. So we're going to go definitally shorter.
Now you're leaving the other.
We're going to leave this on because I think that'll be pretty. But these are quite large. So these are going to be our lower two. So again, low, large is what you always want to think about when you're designing. Think of a pyramid. It's tall and pointy at the sides, and it gets bigger at the bottom. So we want to consider that. So we're going to use these guys. in the front part of the arrangement. But what we are going to use first is our
These are
ginger.
ginger, that's right.
These are ginger. Now they're not the same, they're in the same family of the root that we add to spices, but we don't eat the root of these. These are grown for the industry or just to enjoy. And they have, this is the greenery they have attached, and it's not lovely. In fact, what they do when they package these, they actually pull it over
kinda
like
to
this
protect
to protect it.
I see.
So we remove those. So we're just going to trim those away, and that's about as hard as the cleaning comes. And you know what? This one's kind of pretty. We may leave that one on. Then we want to look at the two gingers we have, and you want to use the smaller one taller.
That
so
one's fuller.
I believe so. So we're going to go with this one, a little bit on the tall side. And the rule is we can't go super, super tall, because the taller you make something, the more flowers you need. This is the only flowers we have. So we're going to have to go a bit shorter, and we don't want it just so massive. So I'm going to bring my stem down off the table and bring my vase to the side and determine about where I want to start my height. And I think that looks good. So I'm going to give it a trim, and I might trim the bulk of it off and then stand it up.
So you're using your same clippers that you use for roses or anything else?
These are wonderful. They're called bunch cutters. So they actually can cut a whole bunch of stems together, but it's always better to cut one at a time, just because of
when they're this big.
When they're this big, you can't really get around it.
Trees.
Sometimes you might have some extra little stems there that or side bits that you can just peel off. And I'm actually going to cut just a little bit more. And here I'm going to start at the very, very back of my container, because I need to get all those pieces in there, and I'm going to work forward. I'm going to start back here, and I'm going to go straight down and get that piece in there. And look at that, it just stays nice and strong.
Yeah,
not going to go anywhere.
It really does hold it.
It really does. And then for this one, I'm going to come up, and I like that little leaf on it. We're going to bring that, it's going to tuck right underneath it. So we're going to cut a little bit more, get the girth of it off first.
It's always better to cut it longer and then go back and cut it shorter.
That is so true.
It's like
sometimes
sewing.
you just can't commit. You can't. It's hard to commit to a cut when you're not sure how it's going to work. So you need to give it a little bit.
That one little leaf does add to it.
We are. We're going to keep that on there. I think it's going to be really sweet. So I'm going to take a little bit more off, and I'm actually going to place this right in front of it so it tucks underneath. And we're cutting at an angle because a pointy end goes in so much easier than a blunt end. And this is going to pop right in front. We want to see all these flowers.
I see. I thought it was side by side, but it's slightly in front.
It's slightly in front. So we're going to keep it just like that. Then we're going to take a look at our two massive pieces here and see which one's bigger. And I think that this one is. So this one's going to actually go next. And I think I'm going to keep that piece on too. And we're going to turn it this way. And I'm going to cut quite a bit off, because I want it to come right in here.
It'll be low.
It'll be low.
Middle.
And here it's going to take probably 2 crunches to get across this giant stem. And sometimes if you cut that much,
it
you know
just
what? It may fall off. So you know what? We're going to go ahead and go for this one here. And what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to feed it in where the stem is going to meet the foam, because it is so thick. I'll just put that right in there like that. It's holding nicely. And you want to give this one a go?
I think I'll watch you.
Okay. This one actually is also kind of coming out of the stem. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut it completely away so we don't have the extra.
You could go back and add the stem.
We certainly could, yes. But this is so massive that I think it even needs to have a little bit more off, and it's going to come out right in front.
How long would an arrangement like this last?
2 weeks.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, 2
like
weeks.
The succulents, it lasts longer than regular.
So that's our building.
Pretty.
Very, very sweet, very pretty. So from here now, we have all this foam that you can still see. So the benefit of tropicals is that you don't have a lot of greenery to clean off. However, you don't have any greenery to hide your floral foam. So what we use is we incorporate some tea leaves.
I remember you used those before.
They're wonderful. And what you want to do with tea leaves is we're going to bend them back as we have here. So you want to loosen the spine a little bit here, and then simply bend it back where the tip is sitting right here on the stem. And you take some teeny rubber bands you can get at the beauty supply store, and you just anchor that point down. Maybe go around twice.
Sometimes you need 3 hands.
I know. We can get it on there. Let's see. Pull this
but it's got to be tight enough to hold that.
Yes, because we want to stick that into the foam too, and anchor that so it doesn't pop out. There we go. And we can make it like that. I'm going to give this a quick trim at an angle, because it's much easier. And we're going to slide this into the side like that. Make it pretty. And then we're going to do that with another one and give it a try. and give you a rubber band there. Actually, some
Oh,
of
I've
these
got to
smaller ones
loosen
work
the-
great. Loosen it up a little bit. And then I'm going to put 2 more on the sides here in the same manner. So just loosen that up, flip it back.
Oh, these are pretty sturdy. I didn't realize that.
These are very, very fresh. Great, great quality. And you can buy sometimes, they'll sell at groceries, I've seen, little tropical kits, actually, very, very sweet. And you can buy a miniature version of this and do the same thing. Let's slide this one right in here. Big and bold. It's all about
Big
this
and
arrangement.
bold.
Great. And you can put that one right behind this one. Wonderful.
Now, are you going down in this
You can go right
or
here behind
into
this
the
one
foam?
if you like. Yeah, right
Okay.
sideways into the foam.
Sideways into the foam. Okay.
Wonderful.
Those are
Great.
so
Oh, that adds a
pretty.
great look. And now from here, we still have this
You
up
can see
front.
the front.
Right, and so we're going to add these in, and these are our anthurium, and they come in greens and pinks and whites, and absolutely beautiful. And what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this one so it's sticking out a little bit, just to add some interest out front. And that one we're going to cut a little bit shorter, and you're going to tuck right in behind it. If you want to do that one. And then our last thing we're going to add out to the front is our orchids. And when you buy flowers like orchids, you don't necessarily have to keep them exactly how you bought them. So we're going to break this down into 3 parts of it. So we're going to take away the part that's bloomed, and then we're going to take away another part here that's not quite the middle part, which is half bloomed, and then the tips. And with these then, we're going to cluster. So I have them 3 pieces. So it's a little messy here. 3 pieces, and then these we're actually going to place right in front. So we have our bold pieces that are nice and fresh.
Oh, you don't put them all in at once.
Nope, place them one at a time.
Cut
Cut them all individually, and then we're going to cluster them together. And whenever you're placing stems, it's so much easier to place them in one at a time. And right in front there, because we want to hide out our floral
we're
foam
still
there.
hiding the foam.
Yes, we're still working on that part. Beautiful.
I think this one needs to go.
No, it doesn't. That's okay. All right, and take a look.
Is that too tall?
No, that's beautiful. That's a wonderful arrangement. And then we still have this one a little bit. We can tuck this one in too and just finish it off. And I think we'll be good to go. I'm going to put this one out this side. And I'll put it right in here.
Okay.
The joy of tropicals. That's a whole lot of
I
fuss
think this
and
is the
muss.
most interesting thing, how you fold those tea leaves.
It adds a
instead
nice
of just
texture.
using them tall.
I agree, and I think what's nice too is that you have so much going on with interest here that the greenery doesn't have to overwhelm it. So you can stick a palm frond back in here too, and that'd be pretty and
that would
airy
be
and
pretty.
make it look really tropical too.
Well, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
So pretty. So it's just sort of a spectacular arrangement.
It is.
Thank you, Casey. Elena, it's so nice to have you here, and I was really interested in reading about your charity work on the internet. And maybe let's start out by talking about the charity wings, and then we'll go into how all of this works into it.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. So Charity Wings, we're a nonprofit organization, 501c3, and we give the gift of art. So we have a 6,000 square foot art and craft center
Wow.
in San Diego. It's a huge warehouse that's virtually been donated for us to use. And what we do is we do free art classes with other nonprofits. So it's really fun because people come in and they get to do craft projects. They're sitting there, they're smiling the whole time, they're not thinking about whatever other things are going on in their lives. And that's just our main mission, is just to give the gift of art.
And that's how you got into this bottle cutting.
So we are supported by amazing manufacturers and designers, and this is one of the manufacturers that has really supported what we do and is very charity-minded, and we're excited to show you
Well,
this
and we'll
cool
look
product.
at those. But just in case people, they'll recognize like soft drink bottles. But some of these, I don't think, once they're cut, you'd
You
never
don't
know what they
Yeah.
were.
So it kind of depends. If you want to preserve because you have a favorite type of liquid that you like to enjoy, you could, of course, preserve the label. But otherwise, you can use it, and like we did glass paint on here.
I saw that on one
So
of the
this is
others.
a anonymous wine bottle, and we added the, we used the Deco Art multi-surface paint and a stencil.
Same
And
thing
then this is the
probably on
top.
this.
I don't even know this, no, not the same top.
No.
Yeah, but there's lots of uses. The whole idea behind cutting the bottles is to upcycle, right?
Now,
Recycle and
what-
upcycle.
Are these the bottoms?
Those are
of-
the bottoms of these that I turned into wine glasses. So that was the
Oh.
bottom of them. And I
okay.
thought they would make either great, you know, peanut dishes or
Little
wasabi
snacks.
dishes, you know, for your, when you're doing your homemade sushi. And then you can see this is actually the same bottle
Looks like a little
here,
goblet.
but we cut it the other way. So instead of cutting off the bottom, I cut off the top of this one.
Oh, gosh, you never run out of ways to do
There's
this, do
a
you?
million things you can do with this. And as you can see, the top of the wine bottles, you know, become these nice goblets as well. So,
And then the stands, gosh,
yeah,
those are beautiful.
So this tool is called the KENW, and it's an amazing little tool that got started with a Kickstarter campaign. For people that don't know what Kickstarter is, it's
Yeah.
basically to start your own crowdfunding, and you can invent something and see if people want to back you.
Oh,
So they raised $80,000 on their first Kickstarter campaign, and then they came up with the second Kickstarter campaign, which was the Jabberoo, and you get 6 of these, and they basically just pop. You can just pop that one onto that right there. It's super easy, and it's dishwasher safe, silicone, and it's, you know, a neat little. Now you have a wine glass.
perfect. You bet.
Isn't that fun?
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, we sort of saved the best for last here, didn't
I'm really
we?
excited about this.
get ready
this
for
is
magic.
Yeah, this is the last product that they came out with, the latest product, and it's called the Firefly LED Pendant Light Kit. So if you look here, it hangs like this.
hangs.
Yeah, so whatever your favorite bottle is, and of course I had to decorate this one because we love to get crafty. So I added some flowers on the bottom and some pearls, and this you can pretend is your ceiling, and you can choose to paint your ceiling and glitter it if you want to, or not.
Or not.
Some people might want to glitter their ceiling, but that's the piece right there.
It looks more complicated.
It's actually a really simple thing, and I'm going to show you
Is it?
really
Okay,
quick.
so you're going to show us how. And it
Yeah.
all comes like a kit.
And it
so-
all comes in a kit. So
with
it comes with all these
instructions.
pieces here. And it actually has different colored ropes. So that one's orange there. There's gray. The one we were looking at was black. I think there's a white one as well. But it's actually fairly easy to do. You would
You
wire.
don't have to be an electrician.
You don't, and that's really good because I'm not. So when I was putting this together, it was not as hard as you think. Plus, now with the magic of the internet, you can kind of YouTube or you know, find online any kind of video.
Oh, that's true.
Any
How to-
video
how
to
to
help
do
you do
this.
this. Yeah, and I definitely did watch a couple of videos because I'm not an electrical engineer. So, but anyway, this is the dimmer switch, and it also makes it so that it can have the lower wattage for the LED light. So what's neat about it is he created this thing. It's called a silicone thingamajig.
It really is?
Yeah, he really calls it that.
I
It's a
can remember
silicone
that.
thingamajig. And what's so great about this is that it's got these ridges built into it. So if you were to put it into like that bottle right there, and you slide it in, one of the problem with pendant lights is that they, whoops, going this way, sorry. One of the problem with pendant lights is that they can heat up and crack your glass.
Oh.
So with the wrong light bulb. So
Yeah,
he
sure.
is using the LED light bulb. And that way it puts off less heat, it lasts longer, and then with these ridges in here, it lets the heat escape.
Well, that's smart.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
the other thing about the ridges is it keeps it stable no matter where it is, so you don't have the tipping of the pendant light. Isn't that
Well,
easy?
show us how to make one of these, or
Okay,
how
you
we
ready?
would cut.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm totally excited to show you this. So this is the KENW bottle cutter, and it's got these rings in here that roll, and then these pieces here. So I've already prepared a bottle. Well, anyway, you can use any bottle. So you can use up to a magnum size bottle,
Oh,
which is
wow.
really great.
Okay.
So, you know, you can basically, you could cut this into a bowl because, you know, it's
could.
kind of big. But we're going to use a nice, regular, small-sized beer bottle. And the key to it is it's a 3-step process. So
Okay.
the first thing is you're going to score the bottle. And anyone that does glass work, you know, if you're a glass artist, you don't want your glass to break.
No.
So we're doing the opposite. It's kind of going against what they know. But we're going to score the bottle, and then we're going to separate the bottle, and then we're going to finish the bottle. So all you have to do is put the bottle into the kinkajou. I hold it like this. But if you were trying to cut a bunch of wine glasses the same size, you could, I kind of cheat sometimes and use books and stack them up so that every time you cut it, it's exactly the same, right?
I see.
So there's kind of some little tips and tricks, but you just want to screw this on here. And they have a great video online where they cut a bottle in under a minute.
Wow.
So you can really go for it. And they are selling these things in street markets and things like that. And you can really start your own. Yeah,
it's a great way to start
You can really start your own
business.
DIY business. And then, of course, being able to add the stenciling on there or glass etching is really fun and easy to do. So you want to get it on there
nice
evenly.
and taut.
Yeah, and then you want to pull these little
Clamp it.
pieces down. And then you kind of have to test it and make sure it's still going to spin.
Oh, because you do want it to
Because you're going to
move,
score
yeah.
it. You're going to use this little tension blade here. And what's great is it is tension mounted, so you don't have to worry about, like, you know, not every piece of glass is perfectly even, but it'll go around it as long as it's round. Unfortunately, you can't cut square bottles, but round bottles, any round bottle you can do. And then you want to start scoring your bottle. So you see
Yes,
how
I
that's
can see
working
it.
there? And I'm not doing anything really strong to it. I'm not really even applying pressure. But you want to get it all the way around, and then you want to cut it evenly and make it match up right there.
Oh, so
okay?
where you stop and start.
Exactly. And so one of the things I recommend to people is when they're learning how to use this tool, that you kind of take a bottle and work your way down it a few times so that you can make sure that you have learned how to score a bottle, because the key to it is that it has to meet up and score.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. Whoops. Let me just make sure this still turns. A little too loose.
Okay. So we would keep practicing it first,
Yeah.
but then what's
So
the
once
next
we get it
step?
scored, here, let me just turn this really quick. And then once you get it scored, you're looking for the kinkajou click. See how it's meeting right there? And once it clicks, that means it's perfectly in place.
Okay.
Then you take your bottle out, and the next step is to add your separation rings.
That's what these are.
And what this does is it channels it so that when we're doing this process, because what we're going to do to cut these is we're going to use hot and cold to expand and contract the glass.
Oh, okay.
And what that does is it
know
makes
that.
it split in two. Okay, so and it'll split right on the score line. So you want to use these cool separation rings that they invented to kind of channel the water, to channel the water into place.
And do this same size separation rings fit on big
They
bottles?
do, they're
they come
super
in-
stretchy.
Okay.
So you can use them on any size. And then once you get that separation ring right on your score line, okay, then you're going to take boiling hot water.
Okay.
It needs to be really hot. And the key to splitting glass is that you want to heat your line evenly. So some people do it with a heat gun, and if you can heat it really evenly, that works. But the great thing about using hot water is with these channels, it just kind of flows.
even. Yeah.
So you're going to pour the hot water on there.
On the outside.
Exactly.
Okay.
And heat it up. And you can kind of turn it and keep pouring the water on and get it on there.
It's boiling hot water.
Boiling hot water.
Okay.
Then the next step would be to have a bucket of ice water. This is how I find that it works best. So you would have a bucket, ice in it, and then you submerge your glass into it. And you'll hear it cracking. It's
Oh,
really
that
cool.
fast.
Yeah. So sometimes it'll take 1 or 2 tries, but because we're magic,
This
this is how it would split.
Wow. So where your 2 separator rings were, that's where it comes off.
Yeah, and then you've got your scored line that just split in 2. So now you've got the bottom like this, and the top like we have those lids over there. So
Okay.
these
And
little
these are
lids-
just examples of some of the things that are made and sold in your charity store.
Absolutely. So we can do these with people that come into the art center. So we bring in like cancer support groups, wounded warriors, and we kind of give them the gift of art. And then if they want to go start their own DIY business, this is a
perfect.
fun thing for them too.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
showing us how to do
Thank
this.
you.
And
Thank you for having me.
congratulations with your charity wings.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed the show today. Next time on Creative Living, we'll learn how to make Zentangles and also show how to create your own background paper to use for craft projects and much more. Do you know what a Zentangle is? I didn't. One of my next guests is an artist and designer, and she's going to explain what a Zentangle is. She'll tell how it got started and explain what supplies are needed. She also has several samples to show some designs that will help you get started doing these. She'll also talk about what surfaces you can use to create your Zentangles. Another guest on the next show is a mixed media artist, and she's going to show how to create your own background paper to coordinate with cards, scrapbooking, and other paper crafts. She'll demonstrate 2 different techniques for doing this. Both of these topics will be featured on the next Creative Living show. If you ever have comments or suggestions or ideas for shows, you can email me at sheryl.borden@enmu.edu. I'd also like to ask you to become a fan of Creative Living on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and in the search window, type in Creative Living with Sheryl Borden. Thanks so much, and I hope you'll plan to join me next time for Creative Living.
We are very pleased to offer you a new booklet that accompanies this series of Creative Living. This booklet is titled the 6900 series, and it features a wonderful collection of ideas and information, and it's available free of charge on our website. Posted as a PDF file, you can simply download the entire booklet or just the segments you're most interested in. For your copy of this new booklet, go to our website at KENW.org and then click on Creative Living. Scroll down to the booklet section and you can click on this booklet or on any of the other booklets that we have available online. We also would like to invite you to sign up for our free e-newsletter. Just go to KENW.org and click on the Sign Up Now button. Thank you.